mynews.studio.
A treaty that could transform half the planet's oceans is just 10 signatures away. Will nations unite in time?
Today is 2025-07-28. After 20 years of negotiation, it looks like the High Seas Treaty might finally become international law. Just 10 more countries need to ratify before it's binding. Why does this matter so much now?
The timing is critical. The high seas cover almost half the planet and are essential for everything from climate regulation to food security. Yet, only about 1% of these international waters are actually protected. The High Seas Treaty, or BBNJ, aims to change that by creating a legal foundation for marine protected areas and regulating activities like deep-sea mining. Do you think this treaty could actually close the protection gap?
That's the idea. The treaty sets up a legal framework where decisions are made collectively, not just by any one country. The recent UN Ocean Conference in Nice gave it momentum. 18 countries, including Indonesia, Jamaica, Norway, and a number of Pacific Island states, joined in June. The European Union and all its member states are in, and they've pledged €40 million to help implement the treaty. But what's holding the last 10 countries back?
Some governments are worried about national sovereignty and the impact on their economies, especially around fishing and mining rights. Others face legal hurdles. Aligning their domestic laws with the treaty is complex. In some places, political instability and the need for parliamentary approval are slowing things down. It's not just a paperwork issue. It's about rethinking how we share and manage resources that no one nation owns.
If those 10 ratifications come in, the treaty enters into force after a 120-day countdown. Then the first conference of parties, COP1, has to meet within a year. What happens at that first COP?
That's where the framework for governance, financing, and oversight gets set. The COP will establish bodies for compliance and decide how to designate new marine protected areas. It's also responsible for setting up the systems that will monitor and enforce the treaty. The challenges are huge. How do you enforce laws in the middle of the ocean? The treaty proposes satellite surveillance, vessel tracking, and international data sharing. But is technology enough?
Enforcement is always the sticking point with international treaties. Even with technology, you need cooperation. The treaty tries to build that in. It has reporting requirements, a compliance committee, and expects countries to coordinate patrols and enforcement. But real accountability depends on political will. Are countries ready to actually act, not just sign?
That's the test. It's worth noting that small island states and indigenous communities have played a big role here. They've been active in negotiations and early ratification. The treaty's governance is consensus-based, so even the smallest parties have a say. That's rare in global agreements.
If the treaty works, it could be a model for other global challenges. The high seas are a shared resource, and the risks, from overfishing to climate impacts, are global. But collective action is hard. Will this set a precedent for how we manage other global commons, like the atmosphere or space?
That's the big question. If this treaty succeeds, it shows that countries can come together to protect something that belongs to everyone. And if it fails, the consequences for ocean health, climate, and food systems could be serious.
So, with only 10 countries left to sign, and the first conference of parties on the horizon, the world is watching. Will we see a new era for ocean governance, or another missed opportunity?
That's what we'll be tracking in the weeks ahead. Thanks for joining us as we break down what's at stake for the planet's biggest ecosystem.
Thank you for listening. This episode was powered by mynews.studio. Try now for free.